Welcome to Left, Right, Center, where we are covering Colorado politics first on CBS News Colorado. I'm political reporter Sean Boyd. The nation's cybersecurity agency is sounding an alarm about growing cyber threats during the 2024 election, and Google hosted a cybersecurity summit in Boulder this past week to highlight the latest threats and how to protect against them. I moderated a panel discussion that focused on, among other things, artificial intelligence, including deepfakes. There are now apps that allow even unsophisticated hacktivists to convincingly mimic voices and digitally alter videos, making it easier than ever for cybercriminals, nation-states, and hacktivists to sow confusion, influence public perceptions, and disrupt elections. Joining me are analysts, Republican Dick Wadhams and Democrat Mike Dino. So, Dick, I'll start with you. The state legislature passed a bill that the governor signed into law that requires disclosures on any deepfakes that are released within 3 months of an election. And, this so voters know if it's real or if it's not real. Those who don't do that could face fines and even be sued. You think that will make a difference?
Well, this is one time when I actually have sympathy for the Colorado Secretary of State. Apparently, she's going to have to enforce this, and I think we're in such new territory, and it's probably going to require more staff work. And so I think she's going to be feeling her way through this, and I sympathize with her on that. So I think it's going to be a rough start, and it could be kind of choppy.
So, Mike, there was already a deepfake in New Hampshire, this robocall that was made to sound like President Biden saying, don't bother going to vote now, just wait until November. It's clearly voter suppression there. Well, Congress is considering a few bills right now dealing with deepfakes. I don't think there's a lot of confidence that those are going to make it, certainly not out of the House. So how common do you think deepfakes are going to be this election, and what effect could they have?
I think they could be very prevalent. I mean, it depends on the media platform. I think on network TV, on cable TV, I think there will be standards that will keep it from getting into the mix. But on social media, I think it'll be rampant. And there's just a report the other day that most of the attacks at Biden online are coming from Russian sources. And so we'll see a lot of foreign hacktivists, as you called them, going after probably both candidates, all the candidates that are running, and we'll see it on all levels too. It's really going to be the cat's out of the bag on this one, and you're not going to be able to catch it.
Yeah, if not Congress, even the FTC to come up with some regulations here, because you talk about those attacks that are coming from outside the country. What does it even matter if a state has a law?
Right.
If you can even identify the person who created it, how are you even going to go after them, right?
Well, and as Dick and I know, having run campaigns, I mean, people get away with stuff. The election happens, and then you try to get them, and by the time they're long gone.
Right. Well, while the general election is, 5.5 months away, Colorado's primary elections are just 5 weeks away. Ballots at the mail the first week in June, and CBS News Colorado is hosting a Voter Decides Congressional District 4 Republican primary debate 1 week before that. 6 Republicans are running for the seat vacated by Ken Buck. Lauren Boebert, who switched from Congressional District 3, got top line on the ballot at the Republican Assembly. So, Dick, what are you looking for in this debate?
Well, we'll see if any one of the other 5 candidates can break out of the pack to be the main challenger to Boebert. I would think that she would be the target in this. And she's the front runner. She's got a hardcore 30 to 35% floor. That's enough to win a 6-way primary. And so we'll see just how aggressive these candidates will get. They're going to have to. I mean, they have nothing to lose at this point.
Right.
She's going to win this primary unless something changes the dynamics of this race.
So there'll be some fireworks, you
I
think?
would hope so. There should be.
With 6 candidates, Dick talked about, how do you break out of the pack with something like that,
Well, it's half of what it used to be. So that's good.
Right.
Dick's right. They'll target, one of them's got to look like they're competitive against Lauren Boebert. But I'm going to say this, having been involved way back when in ancient history, when Wellington Webb ran for mayor, there were 7 people on the debate stage. And ultimately, what did he do? He put on his walking shoes and walked around the city. So somebody should get their walking shoes on in the 4th and walk around the district.
I agree.
That's a big district to walk around, too.
Hey, you know, if you want to win, you got to do it.
Mike is volunteering to do that with the candidates, I think.
I'll go out for a week.
It's some exercise. But turning to the presidential race, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is campaigning in Colorado, holding a private reception this weekend in Castle Rock, followed by a rally in Aurora. Kennedy and other unaffiliated candidates began gathering signatures this past week to make the November ballot in Colorado. They need 1,500 signatures from voters in each of the state's 8 congressional districts. So, Dick, 32 years ago, we saw how third-party candidate Ross Perot disrupted things for president at the time, George H.W. Bush. So could Kennedy do the same, do you think, for President Biden, or is it Trump that should be worried about him?
There's a difference because Ross Perot clearly was siphoning off votes from George W. Bush at the time, George H.W. Bush. I cannot figure out who Kennedy helps or hurts in this thing. It kind of varies from one week to the next. But when Donald Trump is attacking RFK, that means that he thinks he's hurting him.
Yeah.
So, but then Biden is very uncomfortable with him as well. So, I'm not sure who he ultimately hurts the most in this race.
That's funny. Really, you know?
Well, Dick doesn't know.
Well,
I don't know. I think he hurts Biden.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
So the question is which states. He plans to be on the ballot in all 50 states and says he's got the signatures to be on the ballot in Texas, but you know, Texas is red, so I'm not sure that matters much. Where will it matter?
Well, that's a good question. Where does it matter? He's on the ballot already in Michigan. That's a swing state, and he says he has the signatures in Nevada. And that's where I think he hurts him in the swing states. Where I think he hurts Trump is in states like Texas, where it will close the margin a little bit, but Biden still won't win.
Right.
No, not in Texas. Right. Speaking of the presidential race, a New York Times Siena College poll shows President Biden trailing in 5 of the 6 swing states that will decide the 2024 election. With Kennedy on the ballot, his support dips as low as 30%. Meanwhile, the Biden and Trump campaigns announced they have agreed to 2 debates. The first is June 27th, the earliest general election debate in modern history, and the second, September 10th. So, Mike, what do you make of such an early debate? You surprised?
I am really surprised. I mean, it's really weird. That debate is, I think, even before our primary. When's our
Just
2 days after.
2 days after.
The
So
25th,
it's really odd timing. The second thing is that, you know, we're so used to the Commission on Presidential Debates, who, you know, has been so criticized, and I think wrongly so. I think they've always done a nice job, but they're completely out of the picture.
Right.
There's not going to be an audience. We just talked about RFK Jr. He's mad that he can't get on the stage, but it doesn't look like there'll be an avenue for him. So this is really weird timing. I don't know, what to make of it.
You know, Dick, the debates will happen well before voting starts, right after our primary. Do you think either candidate gains an advantage from this?
Well,
especially the June one.
I was shocked like everybody was. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, we know who the nominees are. Why should we wait? And the national conventions are nothing more but big parties to formally do the paperwork for their nominations. So I think it's actually good. I think this might be a precedent for future elections, having an early debate. It's an opportunity for Joe Biden. I mean, he's got to show that he has a command of the issues and that he should be reelected. And by the way, I think Biden won the news cycle with that challenge that was accepted by Trump. But I got to tell you, I think the Democrats have got to start thinking about getting rid of him, Sean. And I know
and the Republicans got to get rid of Trump.
Well,
neither one's going to happen.
But the problem right now is Trump. That New York Times poll was devastating for Biden, and I'll tell you, the Democrats are slow walking to a big Trump victory, and when are they going to come to grips with this? I just don't understand it.
Well, I would say this: that if the Republicans had somebody other than Trump, you know, it would be no question who would win.
I agree with you.
You know,
Totally.
that's why it's going to come down, you know, really to a very narrow set of states. And it's going to be very
states.
close.
Yeah.
If the Democrats replaced him, they would win this election by 10 points. I really do believe that.
You said you think it's good that the debate is early.
Yeah.
Good for both of them? Good for us? Good for who?
Well, the media, yeah, I think that you guys in the media, you should love this. I think it's best for Biden. I'm frankly surprised Biden or Trump accepted so quickly, because he does have a clear lead right now, and it's getting more and more consistent. And those voter groups that Biden is having trouble with, blacks, Hispanics, and young people, they're not moving. He's not closing the gap with them. He's got a problem.
And
he
Dick's right,
certainly-
and Biden has said that's why he wants to do it early. He wants people to see the contrast sooner than later.
And he will have more time to prepare probably for this too, you know, with Trump in court right now.
Well, and Trump doesn't prepare.
No.
So Trump doesn't need a lot of time to prepare.
Well, finally, on the same week Governor Polis signed the property tax relief bill into law, the president and CEO of the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce delivered a stinging rebuke of that law, calling it a tax relief bill that increases taxes for most payers. J.J. Ament said voters will turn to much more aggressive ballot measures if Governor Polis and lawmakers don't come up with something better. So, Mike, I mean, that really means a special session. You see that happening?
No, well, they just ended like a week ago. They don't want to be back, and they want to be campaigning. I mean, we've all been reading the articles about all the primaries that are out there, and then soon, you know, after that happens, we move into the general. So it's hard to see, but I think we have to see if one of the other ballot measures gets on. I think it's 180. Because both 180 and 50 that's already on are pretty severe towards the state budget. And if 180 makes it, maybe they do show back up at the Capitol.
Really? You think there might be a special session?
Well, I think it you know, you need some time away from the last one. You need to see what plays out with the ballot, and if the ballot looks really scary, maybe. But I doubt it.
In the middle of summer. Dick, JJ told me the chamber's not going to take a position. While he criticized the law, it's not like he's backing the ballot measures. And he said they're not going to take a position on those until August. And as Mike noted, they have much more robust cut and cap to them. How much sway, though, do you think the chamber has?
I think in aggregate, with a lot of other entities, I think it has a lot of sway. And I think JJ was giving a very honest portrayal about what could happen in November. So I don't think he was coming out in favor of it. I think he was giving the cold, hard facts of these ballot measures being attractive to voters. But by the way, Sean, when I read JJ's remarks, I thought I heard you screaming up in Boulder at your house, "No, we won't, no special session."
I know.
I'm done.
I know.
Maybe it wasn't you, I don't know.
It was every lawmaker around the state, too. Right. I don't know if I see them coming back for a special session. I think they feel like, look, this is what we did. We did the best we could. And I know JJ was critical that this came in the last 3 days of the session, but work went into this. You know, we had that task force. It was bipartisan, and that task force met for 5 months. You know, coming up with ideas that went into the bill. And really, I mean, you've had people like Senator Chris Hansen working on this for years, so it's not like it just magically came together in the last 3 days of the session. They did put some thought into it.
Yeah, Barb Kirkmeyer was on the phone, she said, for 14 hours. And I mean, they put a lot, I mean, it was bipartisan. And what are you going to get that's better in a special session that was any better than that?
I don't know, right? But I do think, I agree with JJ, that I think those ballot measures could pass.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, and then there'll be then they have to go look for what, almost $3 billion in cuts possibly.
Now, could that prompt a special session after the election if they pass? I mean,
probably. Probably. Well, thanks for watching Left, Right, Center. We'll see you next week.